Hey guys, what's going on? I'm getting ready to upload the last and final part of the abandoned motel. This last part, well, I might split it in two. It's hard to say. It just depends on how it goes. I'm actually waiting for it to process because I did so much editing that the computer couldn't handle it, and I needed to turn it back into just one file and process it so I could continue to edit. Um, let's see here. I've got about 11 minutes of it done so far, and I've been working on it since 10 a.m. So I'm going to get back to that shortly. But I want to take a little break. I'm bored and I'm staying inside. There's probably more productive stuff I could be doing, but trying to get this video done. So I thought I'd go over my equipment real quick just so you guys can see what I've been using to make my videos lately. And behind me, obviously, I've got a desk and a computer and a monitor. And these are important. These I've got, they're respirators. I guess they're what you might refer to as the M95 respirator, I think, because they do filter out organic material, dust, debris, organic vapors, rather. And I've got a second one here, too, a newer one, because the other one I've used, I probably need to take and clean both of these. And you don't really clean the cartridges. Excuse me, you don't clean the cartridges, but you clean the part that you put on your face and the inside and outside because they can get dust and asbestos and stuff on them. The second thing I've been using, and that's just equipment that you always have to have, and I'm going to set that over here and get it out of my way because I didn't set this up real well, is an LED light. And you can turn it up or down and also adjust whether the color is cool or warm, from like a blue look to a yellow look, or balance it in between. This one's kind of a cheap one I found that was already, I don't know, open package. It says it's a Polaroid, and I've got 2 lithium batteries. I've used this all day when I went to Gary, Indiana, and 2 batteries you can film pretty much all day and have it on constantly in buildings. A third might not be a bad idea, but 1 battery would probably be good for most people unless you're out like 8-9 hours at a time. But I've been in buildings for 5 or 6 hours, and 1 battery seems to last on this. I think there's a brand that took over making these now, maybe New Ear or something. Andrew, if he ever does a review, he's got a light that's super bright. I don't know that his battery lasts any longer, but it really lights stuff up. I like his light. It comes out looking kind of blue on film. My camera is a Sony a6000. When I bought this, I read reviews, and this only does 1080. It doesn't go any higher, but the video quality is great. The focus is good, and I think the camera body you might be able to buy used for 400 and something bucks now. It does have the kit lens. There's probably some better lenses out there you can buy, but the ones that I had looked up previously, and it's already getting scratched. I haven't had this long. Screen protector. I have scratches on my screen. I would recommend, if you buy a camera, get the screen protector immediately, because it bugs the crap out of me that my LCD screen is scratched. It also has a viewfinder in case you want to look through with your eyes, but that's probably not a good idea filming in abandoned buildings, because you need to look at the ground and see where you're going, make sure you're not stepping on nails, needles, and holes in the floor. But the lens that's an upgrade for this that would probably give me better clarity is about $800. So I probably won't be buying that. Probably save my money in case I break this lens, because the kit lens you can pick up for maybe $150 or so, I think. This is a stabilizer. This is how I get my footage smooth. It isn't a requirement all the time. Sometimes shaky footage is okay, or you can just learn to film where you get a little bit of walking that's bouncy, and then you just kind of pause and take still shots and move your body real smooth. It's possible to film without a stabilizer, but if you want to run up and down steps and fast forward it, and when I film myself, basically, it has a mode where it turns the camera back on you and you can hold it out and get another perspective, and that's pretty cool. The battery time seems to be pretty good. I really haven't had it go dead yet. It's a Crane M2. When I first bought this, I bought it once and then I returned it because I thought that it would work. There's a remote on the back, like a joystick, and a zoom and zoom out button, and a start and stop record. And I thought it was going to work with the Sony a6000. It really didn't. You had to set something up on a phone an app and it would control the zoom, but it couldn't turn the video recording on and off. It would only snap photos, and it was really glitchy and a big lag. And I said, man, I don't even want to mess with that, and I returned it. And but I really wanted to be able to use the stabilizer and the features of it. It does work with some newer cameras, but I wouldn't doubt if it's also probably a hassle to use the controls on this. This thing is made to where you can set it up to do a cell phone or a GoPro. Like, it can balance and do a lot of things, but this camera is fairly heavy. You know, it's kind of a compact mirrorless camera. It's a little lighter than a DSLR, but it has plenty of power to face straight up or look at the ground and not have a problem, and it lasts quite a long time. The batteries on this M2. My old GoPro stabilizer, you could actually buy more batteries and take them out and put them in, so you can make it last a really long time and get away with using it just forever. But this one has internal batteries, so I'm not sure what I'll do when they do finally wear out. I don't use it constantly every single day, so hopefully it'll last me a while and I keep it charged up. But the solution I found was this remote made by Sony, which will control some functions of my camera. I can take snapshots, I can start video recording, stop video recording, and go into some of the menus. The main buttons I use on this, I don't use playback, stuff like that. I mainly use it to control the camera shutter and start and stop video recording. That way I can put the camera in this stabilizer and just start and stop the recording using this remote control. The remote controls are about 20 bucks. This thing, I would guess, is about 230, the stabilizer. Another thing I have is a polarizing lens for my camera. And, you know, I make videos, I work a lot, I don't have time to become an expert photographer, but I do know that this polarizing lens, a lot of times I like what it does, especially on cloudy days and you're looking at the sky. It really makes it look neat. And this was probably about $19, I'm not sure. Polarized lens, it's a Tiffin glass, and you can rotate the polarized lens and it gives you a little bit different looks. Also, I have a second smartphone, which is actually better than the one that you're watching me on now, and this I use for the drone. And what I have is a DJI Mavic Mini, and it's pretty small, it's cool. I really haven't taken it in many buildings with me yet and flown it off the top. I've more or less used it once I leave the building to film those intro drone shots that you guys have seen. And these you can get as little as 300 and something, I think, but you really want to get the Fly More pack because it comes with 3 batteries and it's almost $500, but the batteries are 100 bucks a piece anyways, so it really doesn't make sense not to. And then they give you extra propellers. There's a remote control. These are pretty cool. It's kind of like playing a video game. It takes a little bit to get used to, and I'm still learning it, but you can tilt your camera up and down. You can go up and down, spin the drone, forward, backwards, and left and right smoothly. The way you get like rotational shots and stuff is you have to combine the movements on these joysticks. It has a couple little antennas here, and it has these little things that flip down that you put your phone inside those. One flips down on both sides, and then your phone becomes your viewer screen, and it's how you change settings on the drone and do more controls. You can either control and take pictures or video with the drone from the remote or from the phone. And it comes with a bunch of these little cables. You have to have a cable that hooks from the controller to your smartphone. The drone's right here. It's really small and pretty light. It's kind of fragile. If you watched my last video from the motel, there's a spot where I hit a power line and the drone crashes. That was kind of scary. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if I should blame the drone or aircraft interference or if it was me and I just screwed up and flew it, you know, because I had it returning to home, and I'll explain that in a second. I had it returning to home and I hit a couple other, I was trying to control it because you can have them return to home plus kind of control them and record while you're coming back, you know, just to try to get some more footage. And I might have done that inadvertently myself, or the drone might have screwed up. But the return to home function on them is pretty cool. You can fly them out and film with them, but if you get worried about where it's at, how to get it back to you, just hit return to home and it flies back to the GPS waypoint that it's set and comes down and lands. and it'll be out of sight. You'll try to visually see it, but they're small. They're hard to see sometimes. Technically, you're supposed to be able to see them. Sometimes they're just hard to see though, and up in the air. Most places around here you have to stay under 400 feet because there is a major airport in the area. But generally, all the shots you guys see are under 400 feet, maybe at 250 foot in the air. And but you can set the return to home function. You can pick the automatic height that it flies at, and basically you want to pick a height that's higher than any of the highest obstacles near you, and then let it return to home, and it'll fly straight up from the position it's at. You kind of get used to it. When you learn to control the drone, you can look around with the camera and spin it around and look up and down to make sure you're not under a tree or some kind of obstacle when you return to home. Really fun flying it. Each one of these batteries lasts about 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere around there. They might advertise a half hour, but I'd say about 20 minutes is probably good, because when the battery gets to a certain point, it automatically wants to return to home so that you don't lose it. The drones also have a feature on them where they'll start beeping and flashing lights, so you can find them in the case that they do get lost. You have to recalibrate the compass and sensors quite frequently on them. It's pretty easy to do. There's instructions and it takes a couple of minutes. Here's kind of what it looks like though. It's small. Andrew has one that he just picked up from repair, and he's got a bigger one, the Mavic Pro, which is, I don't know if he paid $1,500 or something, but this one's it's good. Andrew put up some drone footage and a video while we were working together, and then I decided there's no way I could let him just have drone footage and not me, so I had to get one. Let's see. Also, it's probably a good idea to have a second camera. I haven't been carrying one lately, but something happens, you break your camera, you're already in a place, you're bummed out, but you might as well film it. I do have a GoPro on a stabilizer, a GoPro 4. I don't quite like the audio. For those of you guys who have been watching my channel for a while, you remember when my video quality improved and it got stable, but it sounded like I was always muffled, and that was the audio coming out of a GoPro on a stabilizer. The audio is just not great. I have an attachment for the GoPro that you can plug into it that allows you to plug in an external mic, but the attachment is, one, overpriced, two, very cumbersome, and it's hard to make a good setup with that. Another thing I had to get was this little piece here to go in the bottom of the stabilizer, this little leg that comes out. It came with this little tripod stand, but this leg is here because I put my light on it in front of my camera. If I had the light on top of the camera, it would throw the balance off and make it real hard to balance. The audio is okay on this camera. You can't plug in an external mic. The newer models you can. You actually can, but it's a Sony mic you have to buy that plugs into the hot shoe mount on the top, and they're about $100. They record in stereo, and you can directionalize the two microphones. I bought one and then returned it because I decided the audio was good enough on this that it wasn't necessary. The clicking sound you guys, some people complain about or wonder it's in the video, it's these little camera mount straps. As the camera moves around, they hit against the side, and that microphone's real sensitive and it picks it up pretty loud. The newer Sony cameras, you can turn up and down mic sensitivity, but on this one it's just set. I also have a backpack that I carry this all around in a building. They make specific camera bags for carrying equipment, but it's really not necessary for me. And this is a nice backpack. Backpacks, geez, I can't believe how much they cost these days. This might be a $50, $60 backpack, believe it or not. But it's got enough little compartments and space, and it has like a little bag on the side. So usually I keep all my fresh batteries in one spot, and as I use camera batteries, I throw them off into another spot so I don't confuse them. Part of the reason I do that is because I have about 10 camera batteries. Now, I've never ran through all of them yet, but I have run through about 5 or 6 of them in that hotel when I was out with Andrew. And the last thing you want to do is run out of batteries or have no way to film. So I really do suggest that if you're going to film a lot, that you have 2 cameras, even if the second one isn't as good, so you can at least document what you were doing, and also have tons of batteries and a second light. If I dropped this and broke this, recently I haven't been real smart and I haven't been carrying them, but it's a good idea to have a big flashlight, a second one of these, a headlamp, something so you have light and you can film or get out of the building. In Gary, Indiana, one time, me and Andrew went into abandoned, I believe it was St. Mary's Hospital, and we were in there and we were out exploring places all day long, and both our lights went out, and all we had was a tiny cell phone light, and we were in the middle of several floors and had to go through a basement with very little light. And it was kind of cool, and it was also kind of irritating. So I definitely recommend carrying extra lights and seconds of most things and tons of batteries. Another thing you might have, and I have one, they're not extremely cheap, but I think it's actually in my car right now, is a really good power pack and cords that will plug into your phone or your different types of chargers. I have stuff that takes USB-C and regular micro USB, so a couple of those cords and a good battery pack is a good idea in your bag too if you're going out for a long time. Let's see. There's probably some other stuff I could think of, depending on where you're going. Maybe some mace, maybe a knife, I don't know. A couple cell phones. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions about any of the stuff I use or you're interested in recording, now my computer is kind of outdated, but I would recommend, I have a computer with an i7 chip. It's an older generation i7. I recently changed to a solid state hard drive instead of an old spinning hard drive. I had to upgrade my video card. It's still some generations old, but I upgraded the video card, and I also have 16 gigabytes of RAM in my computer, but I think my computer is probably the bare minimum you would want to have to try to do any type of serious editing on a video, because it just gets by. And recently I've been using Filmora 9. It's pretty inexpensive. It's like $70 to get to, and it's not subscription based. I guess serious editors might really prefer to use Adobe Premiere, but I've never been taught it, and it seems kind of like it takes a long time to edit on it. It doesn't seem to have a real fast workflow. The older, cheesier program I was using had a real fast workflow, and that's why I kept using it, because I could edit boom, boom, boom real fast. But Filmora 9 has more color grading features and better transitions and titling, and it works really fast. There's also a Filmora Pro for people that want to have another option that you can buy outright, because Adobe you have to pay monthly, like 20 bucks a month to have it. And I don't want to pay them a subscription. You used to be able to buy their software. I don't like that. But Filmora Pro has a lot of cool stuff on it, and it's about 100 bucks, I think, to buy permanently, somewhere around there. No subscription fee. But the reason I went with the 9 is because it has that real fast workflow where there's a lot of really cool templates and color grading features, and you can just use it real quick. So this new video I've spent a lot of time editing. I'm going to get back to it now because my computer screen, I actually use a television monitor, a cheap one, so it's large for me to edit videos. But anyways, I think it's done processing, so I'm going to go work on it. I'm going to try to get it up this evening for you guys. Hope everybody is social distancing, staying away from people. Cases have been increasing here in the St. Louis area, and there's several deaths. One of the person that passed was only 30 years old. I don't know if they had any health conditions, but it seems to be fairly serious. So keep your fingers out of your nose, keep your hands out of your mouth, wash them, put gloves on. And right now I am still working. It's considered an essential business, but our business is really slowed down right now. So I'm curious to hear from you guys too on what's been going on where you're at, and if you're concerned, what you've been doing to try to stay safe. And just whatever you want to comment, leave a comment for me, like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the short live stream. I was kind of bored and thought maybe I would be able to entertain you guys with something too. But please make sure you go check out my video that's coming out here hopefully this evening when I get done editing. That's all for now. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.